What's going on, guys? It's your boy Jay Ridge back for another NBA Best Bets presented by Pinnacle Sportsbook. Your trusted sportsbook for the past 25 years. The NBA Conference Finals are here. The Boston Celtics and the Indiana Pacers, along with the Minnesota Timberwolves and the Dallas Mavericks. It is going to be an awesome Conference Finals. The East, we'll see how competitive it is. I definitely give Indiana a shot, and we will talk about that in today's video as we break down both sides of the NBA bracket. But the T-Wolves and the Mavericks is going to be dynamite. I'm so excited for it, but let's get into the best bets right now. So as you guys can see here, the Indiana Pacers are 10-point dogs to the Boston Celtics. Celtics have been favored in, by just about every game. They're favored by a ton of points, and this game is no different with Indiana's struggles on the road this postseason. No real surprise here in Boston's dominance at home. Makes a ton of sense, but let's just talk about the numbers a little bit. When you look at the way that Boston has played Indiana this year, couple of blowout wins, but a couple of close games as well. So these three games here were on the road, and then the two games outside were at home. Now, they did go 3-2, but they only covered the spread in two of those games, once on the road, once at home. And you look later in the season, these games got a little bit tighter. You know, you have a 3.5-point spread on the road. Indiana ultimately won that game by 2 points, and then you have a 5-point game, but Boston was favored by 8 at home. Now they're favored by 10. The big number here that I want people to pay attention to is the over-under. Over-under of 233.5, 245, 250, 246, 249. Now, all this was before they changed the fouls and really changed the totals in the NBA. But when you look at this total right here at 221, I'm like, yeah, they can probably clear that. So I definitely have the over as one of my best bets. I'm tempted to take the Pacers, but I think I am going to take the Celtics to open up with the 10-point spread. It is a lot of points, right? That's the biggest problem here. There's a lot of points, but I think the rest Celtics have playing at home, the way Indiana has struggled on the road this postseason, that first game I could see being a bit of a beatdown. Let Indiana get into the flow, figure out how they want to play against Boston. We saw this against the Knicks. They kind of dropped games you thought they could be more competitive in, and then they come back, and all of a sudden they're like, oh, we can play in these games. We can win on the road. We can win these big games. They haven't won a ton of games, but they have been playing much better. But when you look at the over-under trends as well, you see Indiana slightly into the over, and Boston as well. They're even right now, but playing against Cleveland, that's going to happen. When you look at the numbers for me, the 221 is a key number that I really like. This one should continue to rise throughout the day, but for me, number one best bet is absolutely the total. Give me the over at 221, and I'll be taking the Boston Celtics -10. It's a little bit closer for me. I'd prefer it at like an 8.5 or a 9, but I believe that the Pacers are going to be a little bit tired. They are going to have to deal with Boston, who they haven't played in a long time. There will be a bit of an adjustment. Boston, obviously, playing at home will be huge, and I'm very excited for that. And the other thing I wanted to mention as well with this series, because they do have it over on Pinnacle, is the series pricing. If you did want to bet on the outcome of the series, I'd be betting Celtics 4-1 or 4-2. Both those numbers, to me, make the most sense. Boston has dropped a game in each series this playoffs. I think they're going to find a way to do it again. 4-2 would probably be about where I like it, because I do think Indiana can win a game at home. So 4-2 would be my best bet in terms of picking the exact outcome of the series. You see how heavily Boston is favored. No real surprise there. And then we can transition over to Dallas and Minnesota, because if I was betting on a series winner, I'd be betting on the Mavericks at plus money. I understand Minnesota has home court advantage, and we'll see how that plays out, but I'd take the Mavs at plus money. I think Minnesota is a little bit too favored. I probably have them closer to -150, -140, favored, but not a big favorite overall. So for me, I would be leaning the Mavs here to win the series if you were placing a bet on that in particular. But going back to the game itself, this one is on Wednesday if you're watching this today on Tuesday as I'm recording, but it's only a 4-point spread, and this is really the series that people should be excited for. Anthony Edwards versus Luka Doncic and Kyrie Irving. We'll see what happens. Can the Dallas Mavericks continue to win games on the road like they've done so well, not just in the playoffs, but throughout the season? One of the best bets, or one of the better bets in the NBA, has actually been betting on Dallas as an underdog. Now, the big key here is, how are they going to play against Minnesota? Because you look at the history here A couple of big games, they probably had some missing players here. 12-point spread, 13-point spread. But in the closer games, 1.5, 2.5, Minnesota won one in a blowout fashion, winning by 18 points. And then Dallas won the other. I believe that one was in Dallas. So Minnesota did win both games at home, but one was a pretty big spread, in which probably Luka or Kyrie was out in that matchup. So don't want to put a ton of stock into that, but they did beat Dallas fairly easily with a 1.5-point spread. And the other key here, look at all of these totals. Under 231, under 228, or push at 228, under 234, and under 221 again. Now, the one thing here to mention, Minnesota playing at home is going to be a little dangerous only because those home fans are going to be rocking. I think they're going to be trying to push the pace, but Luka, Kyrie will do everything they can to slow down the game, make it a possession type of game where you need to be more efficient than run a team out of the building. I still like the under in this matchup, but I will be taking the Minnesota Timberwolves -4 to open this series. I think the home court advantage will be great for them. I do like Dallas a lot, but I don't think they're going to be able to cover the 4 points. They do have that extra day of rest, which will help them a little bit, but I think the way that Minnesota is playing right now, especially on defense, that team is going to give Dallas a lot of problems. I believe they're a little bit deeper on the bench as well. Naz Reid and Nickeil Alexander-Walker can definitely help out offensively if you see a lot of double teams on Anthony Edwards like we saw for the Denver Nuggets. But this is how I see this series playing out. If I was picking a winner right now and betting on a winner, it would be Dallas. I think they come alive later in the series. But early on, especially in game one, knowing that Minnesota hasn't been home for a while, they're going to have that home court advantage. They're going to be rocking. I think game one will be won by Minnesota, and I think they will cover the 4 points. So for me, these are the bets that I'm taking today. The under the 207 and the -4 in favor of the Timberwolves. I think they're ready for the moment. I think they're going to take Dallas to the brink, and they're ultimately going to win this game by more than 4 points. But it's going to be very, very exciting because when you look at these two matchups, they are phenomenal in a lot of aspects. But these are the bets that I'm looking at today. The Pacers, I'm sorry, Pacer fans, but 10 points, it feels like a lot, but I think Boston's going to cover. I'll select the over, and then I'll be taking the Minnesota Timberwolves -4 and the under 207.5. So that's it for me. Thank you guys so much for watching. You can follow me on Twitter or X at your boy Jay Rich, and make sure you're following Pinnacle across all of our socials. Good luck tonight. Enjoy the conference finals. I'm going to be out next week, but I will be back for the NBA Finals for some more best bets. Until then, good luck, and I'll see you guys for the next video. I'm out. Peace.